Greetings, Evans. So I couldn't do the live today because I traveled to Ganeshpuri today. I've been in Mumbai for a couple of days here, enjoying the weather, enjoying the people, my friends, staying with them, and freaking out for a couple of days. And then I had a couple of friends coming here to Ganeshpuri, so I joined them today, and we reached here today. This is Mokshapuri, Ganeshpuri. I'm in the room here of the ashram again. And I don't know how much time I'll be here, but something pulled me here and I came very spontaneously here. Spontaneously, effortlessly, because this is the space of that effortlessness. These giant liberated beings who are one from the great mandala were always effortless, spontaneous, and non-doers. They never claimed anything. The lands that I've been traveling to, the mystics that I've been traveling and visiting for the past few years of my life are all non-doers. The land of Ganeshpuri, the land of Kanangad, the land of Arunachala, that is Tirunamalai. What can be said about it? Ramana's place of absolute non-doership, effortless, spontaneous spaces, and it's so simple. That's what I was prompted to make this video right now and say. It is so simple. The path is so simple. Spirituality is so simple. We complicate it with so much of analysis and so much of data in our minds, always bombarding our little brains and expanding it to all the unwanted areas of life. Whereas the spontaneous masters, the great mystics, the Avadutas, you study their scriptures, if you study their teachings, and what were their teachings? Very simple, very simple, humble, down to earth, and straight to the point, straight to the source, without beating around the bush. You take any of their teachings, very simple. So somebody sent me today some complicated teachings, or some teachings which are very modernized and adaptive to today's world, which boosts our ego consciousness rather than numbing it or humbling it down. So I was prompt to refer them to the simple teachings of Bhagwan Nityananda. Nirmal man, Nishal man, Vishal man, sab mitti hai, he said in the end. That's where all this mystic spoke about. Sab mitti hai, all is dust. Whatever we speak about, how many big ever teachings we talk about, how much ever we blah about, or how much ever the great philosophies are, ultimately the realizations will be that everything is dust. Sab mitti hai. So this is from the space of those great masters who never claimed anything and were so humble enough to walk. Humbleness first, you can see in their stature. The mystics that I talk about are always in this loincloth. Loincloth because they never were attached to anything. Even Bhagwan was never attached to his own loincloth. It is said that when the loincloth used to be tried to be tied around his waist so that the disciples can save the dignity or save themselves from embarrassment of their guru walking naked. And when they tried to put the loincloth around his waist, it just simply fell down. How much ever they tried to tie it. And then one of the devotees pleaded to Nityananda, saying that this is embarrassing people, the Britishers and their wives, and so you please do something about it. That is the time he said, okay, tie it. And when that okay was enough, the Paravani, okay was enough to keep it there without falling down, and it remained there. It shows, this is a gesture of how even a loin cloth cannot stick to that body without the will of that person. I mean, there is no affinity to that attachment. There is no connection, there is no ownership of even a single loin cloth. Forget his own teachings, there is no ownership of these teachings. And there is no claim of even the miracles that they do. No claim, absolutely. These are last people who would say that I cured someone, I healed someone, I helped someone, I served someone, blah blah blah. When Bhagwan Nityananda used to be asked about and praised about his, it's your greatness, and it is their greatness because it is the purity level of their speech, words, and actions that created that miracles. Nothing was there in the external stuff. Like if Nityananda gave somebody leaves and asked to eat that, and some malady or some ailment would be cured, lifetime ailment would be cured, and it used to be cured just by eating the leaves. So people thought it's in the leaf and they tried to eat the leaves, others. It never happened. It was in their Vani, Pashyanti Vani, close to Paravani, the power of the speech, which did that and came from the purity level, power of speech, the Pashyanti Vani, which is there. It's close to, I revealed this in my last live if you want to know what is all this about. So that is a speech not using the mind. So they were all mindless Gyanis. We are mindful Gyanis. So much to learn. I mean, the wisdom is without the mind. Whenever Avadhuts speak, it is without the mind. Mind means ego consciousness. That means it's absent of ego. The Chidakasha Gita, pick it up and read it. It's absent of ego. I am that of Nisargadatta Maharaj. Pick it up and read it. Absent of ego. Ramana's any scripture, any teaching, pick up and read any book of his. Absent of ego consciousness. So that is a space which created that impact. And even though they were of that state and miracles happened because of their state, they never claimed anything. When somebody glorified them or praised them or anything or came to them, even Bhagwan Nityananda say it's Kshetra Leela. Kshetra Leela means the power of the place. He used to put it on the place. It's the power of the place, not me. That is non-ownership. That is humility in action. So much to learn from the mystics. So much to learn from. This is the path which leads to that highest truth of submiti. Who can say submiti hai? Who himself is dust, equivalent to dust. Where is praise for them? Where is name for them? Where is anything for them? Any ownership, any claim, any? All dust. Even their own bodies were dust. Never claimed anything about it. Never proclaimed, never flaunted their anything. Health, wealth, whatever. Success, whatever. Never flaunted anything. Straight to the ground level. Taught by the way they lived. They didn't have to preach. That's the difference. Today we try to teach so much. Yet we fail to teach masses. It's not possible. It has to come, the teaching has to come from the action, from the energy, the consciousness of that action, which makes everlasting changes. So, it reminds me whenever I am here in such kind of places, of these great mystics, there is nothing to learn, there is nothing to listen to about, there is nothing to concentrate about, there is nothing to, desire also here. Just be in that space, be aligned with that space. That's all that you need to do. Then the only effort of effortlessness is this. Just be aligned with that space of consciousness. No asking, no telling, no opinions, no judgments, no this, no that. Nothing, just alignment with that consciousness. And living in that consciousness whenever you are in that space, or even not in that space, anywhere that you are. Living in alignment with them. Alignment is nothing that you actually got to do. Actually, if you see, it's not doing. Alignment is not doing. Alignment is surrender. Surrender doesn't mean, many people think surrender means I have to do this, I have to give up this. No, if you have to give up something, then you are still a doer. There's no giving, there's no taking, there's no doing, there's not doing. Even non-doing is not there. Non-doing also is doership. That's the level of awareness that these teachings tell us. It's absolutely non-doing, just in aligning, just in that shift that we have towards that awareness a sense of awareness that we have. And then the awareness, the consciousness is the rest of everything. Mind cannot be involved here, just the consciousness. But for that, a little effort that we make is that shift that we make, a small shift that we make from our ego consciousness to that soul consciousness. And you don't have to give up also anything. You don't have to fight. You don't have to actually throw or discard anything, even your negative aspects. It's not needed. For a moment, just forget the negative aspects that you call as whatever, negative in me, and shift from there, because that negativity is in your mind. What shows also is the ego consciousness, showing our own negativity and taking pride in that also, showing our negativity, or even destroying our negativity and trying to do something in that. Instead of that, what all these mystics say is just align with that, just shift into that space which is so pure, which is what we know as soul or self or consciousness or whatever. Just a shift into that. And the moment you enter there, mind goes blank, and then extend that space. That's what they say, alignment. And then all these teachings, which are so simple yet so complex. Somebody wrote a mail to me today saying that Devika Lottara, the scripture that I did last Sunday, which is so much about non-doership. The Lord Shiva himself revealing the mysterious teachings of non-doership by giving up any kind of doing, not even any kind of practices he has asked to not shift or drift with. He's just telling, give up that notion of any kind of doing and shift into that pure self and be there. Abide there in that space. The whole Devika Lottara, if you see, is abiding in that space. If you have not read it, I would say go and investigate Devika Lottara. Or you might order the book from Ramana Ashram, which is the only place I have seen that document. Only place where I saw that book published, Devika Lottara. Even on the internet, if you find, there's not much about that scripture, because it's a very scary scripture for doers, for dual tendencies. Very, very scary, because it will just annihilate the ego consciousness. It will just destroy, more than destroy, I would use the word dissolve the ego consciousness there, and even clear your concepts about faiths and theories and philosophies and all that. Especially the people who are willing to give up the dual consciousness and who are moving into that zone. This is all non-dual consciousness, the great mystics that they have. So I would suggest you can read such, which will open up your mind and show you some real facts which we have been taught otherwise. It will reveal to you a lot of things and the doership will go. You will want to just drop like a hot potato the doership and just shift into that space of awareness. That's what makes me come to these places again and again, because I know once you just align with the space of energy and this consciousness that is there, everything will happen. No need to pray. I need not even stand on one leg here or sit in a certain way, or there's no sitting, standing, there's no doing of any kind, there's no do's and don'ts, nothing. Whatever you do, you're bathing, you be in that awareness. You're walking, you be in that awareness. You're talking, you be in that awareness. Whatever you do, just stay aligned with that. And you will notice a lot of things happening in your consciousness. A lot of things happening in your consciousness which will be very tangible and which will be something that you might not want to proclaim or claim out to the world that this happened to me, that happened to me. Because it will shut down that part of you which loves claiming so much and talking so much about those aspects. But it will give you a near and true experience of what reality is than what we actually see it out in the world. Much divine love and light to all of you. Stay blessed.